I can tell you that not winning the last 3 years, um, you have a greater appreciation of winning again. And I remember several years ago, we had a swimmer that won every event in her career except her last one. And, I know that it was bittersweet for her, but like her wisdom out of that was, I have a much greater appreciation for what it takes to win, when she finally lost. And I think for us, I never took winning for granted, winning the championships for granted, and quite frankly, I don't know when we'll win another one. I think that the way this one snuck on us in the framework of a pandemic is probably, it makes the emotions behind it are that much more are magnified because of the pandemic. We had nearly 75% best times, and as far as I can tell, that's pretty unheard of. I don't think we see. I'd be anxious to see what a bell curve would look like in college swimming, but I would imagine we'd be on the end of that, somewhere near the end. So I feel like that's part of the story. But the idea that we had 75% best times in the environment that we've done it with the pandemic, and it really goes to show the amount of sacrifice that these women were willing to make in order to do the sport that they love here at Richmond. And luckily, for the coaches, we were able to direct all of their efforts into a place where they could, reach and exceed their potential. And that really simplifies things, but that's essentially what happened. And it wasn't just, our short freestylers got faster, our long freestylers got faster, flyers were faster, breaststroke was faster. I mean, it really was. It was about as comprehensive of a meet we've ever swam. We had some goals before it. We hadn't won a relay in 5 years. Finally did that. We hadn't broke a school record in a couple years. We broke a couple of those. We had some other metrics that we were really going for, and we met them all. And we didn't talk about winning a championship. That's not. I learned long ago that tends to create a more tense environment. We stayed loose. We enjoyed some Ted Lasso on a lot of different levels, but things changed this year. We didn't fly up, we bust up as a precaution. The meet was in April. Ohio wasn't freezing. I think that kept spirits high. We were tested on Thursday night at the meet. We kind of treated that like an event. We wanted to win that one too. And then of course, when everybody tested negative, we celebrated on the bus. But, I don't know what makes this feel different other than, the global situation that we're all living in right now. Just makes it feel like, it just reiterates to us that we made good decisions the whole time. But, Mitch and I were really impressed with how well the women performed in the mornings. And we can make suggestions to them when they get to the pool about how they should warm up and how they prime their body, for prelims. And they were really, really businesslike. And they weren't formal. They weren't quiet. They were directed. They were still having fun, listening to music, but they were very directed. And I think, Mitch and I saw that. We were kind of like, let's just get out of their way. Like, they kind of got it going on, and then. We talked about the door being open. That's how we started the meet. And then we had a good Thursday, and we headed into Friday, and we talked about the score goes back to 0-0. Let's just win Friday. And then heading into Saturday, I think we felt more momentum, and really we just said, we trained for 4 hours every Saturday morning. So we just said, hey, women, this session at the meet is going to be far less intense than a 4-hour training session back home. So let's just really, really do it well. And they did it well. And we got on the bus, and we had to talk about some logistics about checking out the hotel, the bus ride back. But we also dropped it on them and said, hey guys, you did enough work. It's mathematically, it's within reason that the meet's over. And some of them were like, woo, and some of them were just kind of like, we're not done yet, and quite frankly, that was the attitude they took into the night, and they stayed loose, danced the whole way into the building. Again, preparation was really directed, and then they just, they really just outperformed my expectations. Really, the last day is when we got our 3 school records, and maybe it's because those events or those days, or maybe we just finally got to a point where we were super loose and swimming to have fun. The thing that I wish their parents could have seen it live. I don't know, maybe not having parents there was a little bit of relief for people, but this was the first time in a long time we got to swim really, really loose. Because last couple years really didn't feel like we could challenge. And then before that, we were just trying to play defense. Just we want to keep the streak going, This was a really, really loose group. It was fun. I think our juniors this year were amazing leaders. They weren't as close to the finish line as the seniors, so I think they felt like they kind of had to be there. We have big sophomore class, big freshman class, and a smaller junior class. And I don't know how much leadership training our current junior class has, but they really did a phenomenal job, and I actually think they matured in that process. But I think their personalities fit well with the younger group. And I'll tell you, we're not a group there's not really hard, a hierarchy where there's you got to respect a senior class, or somebody is a little bit more assertive. Quite frankly, they've all kind of bubbled up to the top, and it becomes then like there's a layer of leadership, and there's a layer of ambition, and I think that's what we worked under. We were void we didn't have a lot of seniors, so we didn't have an overbearing senior presence, and I think that allowed some of the leadership from the underclassmen to bubble up. Every one of these is a new story, and if you had talked to me last month, I would not have known this was going to happen. If you were to talk to me last December, I wouldn't have known. In 12 months from now, 12 months ago, we had a pretty persistent schedule of Zooms with the team, and Mitch and I made a commitment that we all were facing such uncertainty that we wanted our team Zoom calls to be optimistic and to be hopeful. And we kicked up the energy. We gave recruiting updates. We were bringing freshmen in. We were excited. I had tremendous faith that the university was going to be able to pull this off. Really, it was kind of like at the end of the day, if there's one university that's going to be able to do it, it's ours. We're a residential campus with amazing resources. And so I was optimistic that we were going to be able to have a season rolled into the fall. We had no meets on our schedule. We were doing dry land training up on the football field in masks, socially distanced with no weights. The women did not complain about that. They would come in here, we'd jump rope with our masks on, and didn't complain about that. And then suddenly we made an announcement in November that they were going to go home. From Thanksgiving to Christmas, no training trip. And when we came back in January, we had a short 14-week season, and I was really excited for that. I've never had to train a group in a cycle that looked like that. Typically our cycle is 26 weeks. We had a 14-week snippet. I felt really good about the fall, and they did not miss a beat. And we didn't have a positive. We didn't get shut down. And more importantly, because they complied, we didn't have strep, we didn't have bronchitis, we didn't have mono. a little bit of allergies, which is great because it means the flowers are blooming and things like that. But, it really was a perfect storm, and this story is one that I didn't see coming. So if we look forward, I can't even, I don't even know where to begin. We do believe our roster will be stronger, only graduating a swimmer and a diver and bringing in 5. We feel good about that. But, along the way, we anticipate there are going to be some growing pains. There's going to be some tangents along the way that we got to divert back. But, I think right now, it was a pretty dominating performance, and I would think that teams in the conference I think they recognize that the women that we have right now are pretty talented. The composure of the women, really every step of the way, is one that this group is extremely intelligent. 3.66 GPA in the fall, by far our highest. I think they understand the process very, very well. But their composure, nearly every step of the way, is something that, you can't measure on a clock, you can't measure with a watch, but it's one of those things that allows coaches and the leaders to really take it to the next level when we realize, hey, they could handle everything that we've just thrown their way. So, and they're doing it with incredible grace, so we can take it to the next level. I know that there were a couple of the women at the meet who were overly nervous, but beyond that, I felt like the composure and almost the amount of confidence that they had, to me, was very impressive. And I don't know if, I think it's hard to portray that in an Instagram post or any type of social media. I think social media and I think our Instagram did a great job of sharing the fun that we had. Because it was music, it was dance, it was Ted Lasso, it was all of that. And I think that I think all of that kind of, it made sense when it all came together, and I think the result was the fast times. Well, the divers, the diving situation wasn't even finalized until maybe a week before. So, they were training for the meet, but they didn't know what location they were going to be in. And Alex, was home. And I know that Zazie was battling some injuries. So for them to be able to pull things together really on short notice and get to Mason and do the job they did, I think is impressive. Mitch's help on the swimming side, the women were directed and focused and calm. He was not. He was as energetic and as immature and as positive as you dream every assistant coach would be. His words are the women listen to what he has to say, and his suggestions on race strategy and all of that is typically right on target. And I think that the staff that we have right now was ideal for this situation this year, and hopefully that's something that we can continue to grow down the road. But yeah, the staff was absolutely vital. Lauren Medlin went 3 best times. Lauren Medlin did not look that great the week leading up to the meet, and we knew when she anchored the first relay on the first night that she was pretty fast. And to see her put together the weekend that she had as a sophomore was awesome. I mean, she deserves it. She's a stud. And then when we create the relay on the last night, our strategy is typically to put the 4 hottest swimmers on that relay. And Maggie is arguably our best swimmer with her versatility. She had already split a 49 the night before, 2 nights before. So we knew she could do 100 free. And then we turned to a backstroker and a butterflyer and said, hey, you just won a lifetime best in the 200 backstroke. You just broke the school record in the 200 fly. You're on the 4 free relay. And both of them were a little reluctant. I think they felt like, hey, we're not freestylers. We don't want to take somebody else's job. But I said, you guys are the ones that are clearly performing at the highest level right now, and they did it, and they, both of them went 50-point, and that's something. I think for Caitlin, that's almost 3 seconds off her best, and it was really, really impressive. The relay actually is our medley relay, but we had that groups from the 4 free. We really could talk about every race and how important every race was, but I think seeing Ellie as a senior going best times, all the way down to seeing Lucy make it back into consoles in the 100 free on Saturday. And it really was just like the whole package is one that you want to replicate year after year. But we'll take it now. This is one that, I have a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old, and this is the first time the 3-year-old or the 6-year-old understands what the meet's like. And for us to be able to do that, and for us to come back with the Coach of the Year honor, I think my little girl gets to see that her dad's a decent coach, and I think that was important. My little boy still hasn't figured it out yet, but my little girl will make sure that he remembers it. So I want them to know their dad's a decent coach. So at a great school. So.